differentiate f of x equals x to the e power, g of x equals e to the x, and h of x equals e to the fifth power. We have three different functions here, and they're all quite different from each other. Even though they all have powers and they all have the number e in them, we have to be very careful with how we proceed. So I want to take a look at each of these individually. Let's start with f of x equals x to the e power. Now, I know that e might have you thinking exponential functions, but even though there's an e there, this is just a regular power function. This is a power of x. And so when we have a power of x and we're differentiating, we use the power rule. Remember, the power rule says that we take the exponent on top of the x and we bring it out front as the coefficient. So this is going to be e times x to the power. And remember that when we use the power rule, the new exponent is 1 less than the original one. Well, 1 less than e is e minus 1. And so in this case, the derivative of x to the e power is e times x to the e minus 1. If you're sitting there horribly confused, just think about if we were differentiating a different power of x. If we were differentiating x to the 12th power, remember the rule is to take the exponent out front as a coefficient, and so that's going to give us 12 times x to the 11th power, because when we use the power rule, the degree goes down by 1. And even though this looks a little bit more complicated, the same thing is happening. We have x to a power, x to the e. Again, the power goes out front, and then the new exponent is decreased by 1. So that is the first one. Let's take a look at the second one. G of x equals e to the x. This is not something that we use the power rule for because it's not a power of x. This is an exponential function, e to the x. We've seen this before. We know that the derivative of e to the x is just e to the x. So that is where we use that rule. And then we've got one last, h of x equals e to the fifth. This is neither an exponential function nor a power function. This is a constant function because there's no variable here at all. This is just a number. E is approximately 2.7. When we raise it to the fifth power, that's about 2.7 times 2.7 5 times. It's just a number, so this is a constant function. There's no x in it at all, and that means that when we differentiate it, we end up with 0. The derivative of any constant function is 0, because the graph of a constant function is a horizontal line and the slope there is 0. So I just wanted to look at these because they look similar, but these are three very different types of functions with three very different rules for differentiating.